Welcome to my PowerPoint about big decks. So big decks they're large. They run a lot of large minions, but they typically run at least a few small minions to enable their effects. You have cards like Barnes, which is a 5 mana 3/4 battlecry summon a 1/1 copy of a random minion from your deck. This card used to be 4 mana and it used to be huge for Big Priest. For a long time, Big Priest would run this card and they would summon things like Yashara or Ragnaros or Obsidian statue from their deck, and then because it's a 1/1, well, it would probably die, but then they would keep resurrecting it over and over again. If you hit Yashara, you would be able to summon another minion from your deck, and it was really powerful. Barnes has saw so much play in Big Priest for a long time, and he started to see less play around the time Vargoth came out, because Vargoth was like also a small minion you would run in Big Priest. So he started to see a little less play, and then they nerfed him to 5, and then he saw no play ever again, which is really funny because he kind of didn't need to be nerfed. The era of Barnes needing to be nerfed had like long passed. So the Barnes nerf we did get didn't really matter. You have cards like Amorphous Slime, which is new. For March of the Lich King, it is a 5 mana 5/3 battlecry, discard a random undead, death rattle, summon a copy of it. This is used in big undead warlock to cheat out its Thaddeus. When undead warlock first came out, Thaddeus was I guess Thaddeus came out after, but when Thaddeus first came out, it was your odd cost cards cost 1, or it's like 10 mana 11/11, your odd cost cards cost 1, swaps polarity each turn. So when you resummoned it in any way, it would always be on the odd cost cards cost 1, and Amorphous Slime, of course, resummoned it, so it would always be that. So you would play cards like Drekthar, like Drek or Darkon, I think it's called. I don't remember what the card's called. 7 mana 6/6 undead. At the end, lifesteal at the end of your turn, deal 6 damage to enemy hero. You had Flesh Behemoth, which was like a 9 mana 4/4 taunt with Death Rattle. Draw a different draw a different undead, summon a copy of it. Like stuff like that. So that's how big Undead Warlock worked. It was fun until the Thaddeus nerf, and then Thaddeus nerf kind of killed it because, well, I mean, Thaddeus needed to be nerfed anyway. Muck Morpher is the current big shaman enabler, 5 mana 4/4. Battlecry, transform into a 4/4 copy of a different minion in your deck. You use Fairy Tale Forest, which is a 3 mana location with 2 durability, and draw a Battlecry card, cost 1 less. And Auction House Gavel, which is a 2/2 weapon that's after you attack, reduce the cost of a Battlecry minion in your hand by 1. To be able to play Muck Morpher out as early as turn 3, it is possible. I mean, on the coin, it's pretty easy. But you could just swing, like play it on 2, swing, and then swing again, and then you play Muck Morpher on 3. The Fairy Tale Forest, of course, triggers it. And then you'll hit, Thunderbringer, or Nepshalon, or Glug the Gulper, or Walking Mountain, and sometimes Golganath, but most people don't run that. And then you have Necrium Apothecary. 4 mana, 2/5, combo, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck and gain its Death Rattle. There have been a couple of Death Rattles that you want with Necrium Apothecary, but today we're talking about, we'll be talking about Deathwing Dragonlord, I think it's called. It's a 10 mana 12/12 with Death Rattle, summon all dragons from your hand. We'll get to that in a minute, but these enablers are really important because they are typically not big minions. They typically say a different kind of minion, or like they don't target themselves, so they're able to cheat out your big minions. And because they're smaller, they do sometimes mess up like other cards. Like Barnes would sometimes mess up your Shadow Essence and your Resurrection pools. Actually, now that I think about it, none of these cards do anything like that aside from Barnes, which is funny. But enablers are very important because, well, how else are you going to get your big minions out early without these cards to enable them? What are big minions that have seen play? There are dozens of big minions that I've seen play. I can't really talk about them all today, but I want to talk about 4, really, because these 4 are pretty crucial to most big decks that we have seen. Yashara, Rage Unbound, 10 mana 10/10. At the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck in your battlefield. This used to be like the best card in Big Priest because it was a 10/10 and it would summon your other big drops, big minions. It was great. It made it super efficient to be able to have like your whole deck be played out so you keep resurrecting it. Yashara basically got like uber power crept by Blood of Gahoon. Blood of Gahoon is a 9 mana, I want to say? It might be 8 mana. 9 mana, 8/8 taunt. At the end of your turn, summon a 5/5 copy of a minion from your deck. So it got uber power crept by that card, like out of the game, out of the meta, out of everything. But, I mean, Yashara still saw a lot of play in Big Priest for years and years, and only really stopped being playable like in 2020. So Big Priest existed for like 3 or 4 years at that point. Before, you know, you couldn't really play it anymore. Blood of Gahoon is great because, well, it will summon more Bloods of Gahoon, which is great, but it will also summon a infinite Neptulon, the Tidehunter. 10 mana, 7/7, Colossal, or Elemental, Colossal +2, Rush, Wind Fury. Whenever Neptulon attacks, if you control any hands, they attack instead. The hands are the Colossal thing, is a 4/2 minion with immune while attacking. So Neptulon is really, really strong when you can summon a lot of copies of him, because every Neptulon's hand counts for, like, whatever Neptulon is attacking. So if you've had 2 Neptulons and just, like, now only one, or I guess, yeah, if you just had 2 Neptulons, each Neptulon will deal 16 damage with its attacks, because there's 4 4/2 hands, and it has Wind Fury, which is a lot of damage. It's nothing to scoff at, especially when you consider things like buffing them, and we'll get to that. But yeah, Neptulon's really strong. Glug the Gulper is a 7 mana 3/7 beast with Colossal +3. After a friendly minion dies, gain its original stats, and then it summons 3 2/2s with taunt. Glug the Gulper is like really, really powerful in Big Shaman for multiple reasons. It punishes your opponent for destroying your big minions by giving stats to Glug. It's a bunch of taunts, so it slows down your opponent, and well, it's cool. No, I mean, Glug is like probably the most simple Colossal overall. He's just a lot of stats. He doesn't really have anything like crazy about him. He's just a lot of stats, and that's cool. Sometimes you just need cards that are just a big pile of stats, and that's what Glug the Gulper is. Glug, of course, also benefits from buffs, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then, lastly, we have Deathwing Dragonlord. 10 mana, 12/12 dragon. Death Rattle, put all dragons from your hand into your battlefield. So, Big Rogue was really, really good at one point. With your Necromancer Apothecary and Deathwing Dragonlord, you would summon, like, I'm trying to think of big dragons. You had Primordial Drake, which is a 9 mana 4/8 with taunt. You had Sleepy Drake, which is 9 mana 4/12 with taunt. You had Runaway Blackwing, which is like a 9 mana 9/9 with at the end of your turn, deal 9 damage, or deal 8 or 9 damage, I don't remember, to a random enemy minion. You had a lot of different big dragons that you could run in the deck, and it was really good for a long time. Necromancer Apothecary eventually got nerfed, and then like the deck kind of just like never really came back. It probably isn't that bad, I'm gonna be honest with you. You probably could play it. It's just not popular. I mean, people don't like it, so if you were looking to play it, like something like that, you definitely could. I do recommend playing Big Shaman if you want to play any big decks, but that means you would have to want to play a big deck, which most people kind of don't, because they're not very fun. There's a reason I'm not talking about Big Hunter on here. And then we have support cards. So there's a lot of different ways to support big decks. Typically, it is Resurrection, though. You have cards like Eternal Servitude, which is a 4 mana shadow spell. Discover a friendly minion that died this game, summon it. This is really powerful with Neptulon because, well, the hands do get really annoying in your Resurrection pool. So if you only have 3 total things that have died, Neptulon, his hands, and Blood of Gahoon, well, then your Eternal Servitude can always hit more Neptulons. You have Ancestral Spirit, which is a 2 mana shaman spell. That reads, give a minion death battle resummon this. You can play it on Glug, you can play it on Neptulon, play it on Thunderbringer, play it on anything. Putting on Thunderbringer is pretty good because Thunderbringer is 8 mana, 6/6 taunt, death rattle, summon a random elemental and beast from your deck. So you can get all of your, you can get Glug out, you can get Neptulon out, you can get Walking Mountain out, and it's really nice. Walking Mountain, I didn't talk about it. It's a 9 mana 4/12 with like Overload 4, and then Rush, Lifesteal, Mega Wind Fury, so it attacks 4 times. It's kind of cool, I'm gonna be honest. It has a really good signature art. You have Infantry Reanimator, which is a 5 mana 4/4, resurrect a friendly undead, give it reborn. This, again, if it resurrects your Thaddeus, will always make it so your odd cost cards cost 1 the same turn you play it, which is pretty useful. You could resummon a Flesh Behemoth, which is a giant taunt minion. You could resummon, I think it's Darkon Drakthir, not Drekthar Drakthir. I don't know what I was thinking of Drekthar. Darkon Drakthir. Again, for more damage and lifesteal, and it, you know, is sticky, so it's going to deal a lot of damage. And then lastly, we just have good old Bloodlust. So Shaman has access to cards that Priest doesn't. Shaman has Rockbiter Weapon and Bloodlust, and those cards do real well when you have Glug, which summons 4 bodies, Walking Mountain, which has Mega Wind Fury, and Neptulon, which summons 3 bodies and has Wind Fury. So Bloodlust is really powerful. They run Thrall's Gift. So they did run Bloodlust in the past, just straight up, but after Thrall's Gift was nerfed to have Hex in it instead of not Hex, sorry, to have Lightning Storm in it instead of Lightning Bolt. Right? Lightning Bolt? I don't remember. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes I just like blank on card names. But yeah, it had Lightning Storm in it instead, so now they run Thrall's Gift, but that gives you access to Bloodlust for 6 mana because the Gift has the 1 mana, and then you Bloodlust, which is 5. And it's really good. Big Shaman has been really good for a long time. It's like sleeper. If you really are looking for a big deck to play, I can't recommend Big Shaman enough. It's really good. It has a lot of like polarizing, like hard-winning matchups. It's just like it's the Big Shaman of our era, or the Big Priest of our era, except it's just not as good as Big Priest was, but it's still something you can play if you do enjoy it. I can understand why people like playing it. You know, sometimes you just get fucking like Neptulon on turn 3, and then you play like Ancestral Spirit on it, it dies, you play Bloodlust on turn 5, and you kill your opponent. It's kind of fun. That's gonna be it for me. If you guys enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to do some shorter style videos lately, and they may not be doing that great, I will be honest, but I don't really care. I'm putting out videos I want to be making. I want to be covering topics that aren't, you know, as flashy, so yeah. That's gonna be it for me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me anything down below. Do you like big decks? Do you dislike big decks? I know I specifically didn't talk about Big Hunter here because I don't want to. Big Hunter is... I hate Big Hunter. I don't like it. I'd rather talk about Big Priest, Big Rogue, Big Shaman, Big Warlock than talk about Big Hunter because it just pisses me off. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Shadows are rising again!
Darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers.